The invisible Shackles. They called Earth a backwater world, a quaint little marble spinning quietly in the black. It had oceans, clouds, a unique atmosphere, and the species the Galactic Union never truly feared. Humanity was tolerated, studied, gently patronized, and when necessary, manipulated. The Union had learned long ago that open conquest wasn't always efficient. Control came cheaper through diplomacy, infiltration, and leashes disguised as treaties, and so Earth, young and eager, had been offered a seat at the galactic table with no vote, no voice, and 1,000 restrictions. Technological ceilings were imposed in the name of peacekeeping. Research projects were denied clearance. Scientists disappeared. Entire industries were guided subtly, then forcefully, into stagnation. Every time humanity tried to take a step forward, the leash tightened. But the Union miscalculated one thing. Humans remember. They remembered every failed space mission, mysteriously sabotaged. Every AI breakthrough suddenly declared illegal. Every generation of thinkers, tinkerers and dreamers buried under bureaucracy and unseen pressure. So humanity stopped pushing on the surface. They smiled, shook hands, signed the treaties. They built what the Union allowed and nothing more. But underneath they prepared. Beneath Mars' frozen dust in the iron bellies of Titan's shipyards, and deep within the code of innocuous Earth-made satellites, humanity began its second life, hidden, patient, and absolutely furious. For 70 years, the Union thought they were winning, that Earth had accepted its fate as a minor power. They watched Earth's public space program plateau. Its military capabilities remained primitive. Its AI sector stalled, and they believed it until Europa, a minor Terran colony, quiet and resource-rich, nestled in Jupiter's icy shadow. Nothing special, nothing strategic, but to the VIII Dominion, one of the Union's most ruthless sub-factions, it looked weak, a soft target, a reminder to Earth of its place. The Union didn't object when the VIII fleet moved in. After all, Earth needed to be reminded who held the leash. But something went wrong, very wrong. The VIII fleet arrived with 53 warships, battle-tested cruisers, destroyers, planet breakers. In previous campaigns, they had reduced entire planetary systems to ashes. They didn't last 5 hours. No distress call, no diplomatic plea, just silence. And then wreckage. Massive floating tombs of twisted metal scattered across Europa's orbit. No survivors, no explanation. Just one transmission. This was not a retaliation, this was a revelation. The Union froze. In a single breath, the illusion shattered. The species they had thought domesticated had just exterminated one of the most feared fleets in the galaxy. And not just defeated, erased without warning, without visible buildup, without losing a single Terran ship. Panic didn't come immediately. No first came denial. It was a trap. The VIII fleet was sabotaged. Some rogue human faction, nothing more. But as data trickled in from black box remnants, Union analysts found something chilling. Weapon signatures not present in any known Terran arsenal. Energy readings that didn't match public Earth technology. Coordinated strike patterns suggesting AI. The math didn't add up, because the truth was something the Union wasn't ready to face. Earth had been holding back for decades, and now they weren't. In less than 12 hours, the Galactic Union convened an emergency session, the first of its kind in over 4 centuries. Over 1,000 species gathered in the Great Chamber of VIII Prime. Elder delegates, war-hardened chancellors, cold-blooded tacticians, all murmuring one question through tense tendrils and digital relays alike. How did the humans do it? They would get their answer soon enough. And when it came, it wouldn't be through a formal report. It would be delivered in person by the very being who had orchestrated the greatest deception in galactic history. But for now, the chamber trembled, and Earth was finally ready to speak. The chamber shakes. The Grand Chamber of VIII Prime had not been this crowded in centuries. 1,000 species, 1,000 voices, 1,000 reasons to be afraid. They had gathered in haste, summoned by the Union's emergency protocols. Protocols believed to be obsolete in the age of galactic stability. The chamber itself, carved from obsidian, mined from dying stars, pulsed with artificial gravity and holographic banners of the Union's dominion. But even its grandeur couldn't mask the tension bleeding through the air. The murmurs were no longer whispers. They were fear in the open. 53 VIII warships. Gone, not damaged, not disabled. Gone. And the worst part, there was no trace of Earth's supposed primitive defense fleet on the record. At the center dais, Chancellor Zorov van Elder of the KC species and longest-serving Union official, stood motionless. His elongated body shimmered beneath the crystalline lighting, clawed hands resting on the podium, sharp eyes reading every twitch and shiver in the crowd. He tapped the podium once. Silence fell like a guillotine. This incident, he began voice-taught as a laser filament raises questions that threaten the very spine of our civilization. A rose delegate, a pale amphibian creature with twitching eye stalks, croaked nervously. Perhaps an anomaly. A single well-executed ambush. Zorov Van didn't blink. An anomaly, he echoed softly. The Dominion fleet was comprised of 53 warships, each one carrying apex weaponry, sanctioned by this very council. Do you know how long it took them to fall? The chamber waited. 4 hours and 37 minutes, Zorov said. He paused. Humanity lost. Nothing. A wave of stunned disbelief rolled through the room. Some delegates gasped. Others hissed. One Suver. Ambassador slammed his fist against his armrest. This is impossible, the Suver growled. His deep blue skin flushed darker with rage. We have regulated Earth's advancement for over a century. We dismantled their weapons programs. We sabotaged their AI research. Their fleets are decades behind. Zorov's eyes narrowed. Are they? And then, the chamber door slammed open. A single figure walked in. Silence followed her like a cloak. She was human. Her boots echoed across the obsidian floor. Her uniform was black, sharp, adorned with an unfamiliar insignia. The sigil of the Terran Defense Coalition, an organization the Union had dismissed as planetary-level security. She didn't look up to seek permission. She didn't need it. She stepped onto the central platform and turned to face the assembly. Her voice, when it came, was calm but cold and perfectly clear. You misunderstand. Some delegates leaned forward. Others leaned back. You believe Earth developed something new, that we leaped forward, discovered some miracle technology overnight. She smirked, humorless. We didn't. The chamber held its collective breath. We've been capable of this for over a century. Shock, disbelief, denial. It all played out in real time on the faces of 100 species. We knew about your interference, she continued. We watched your sabotage, your blockades, your treaties dressed as gifts. You thought we were too naive to notice. She stepped closer. We noticed. She raised a small device. With a single press, the chamber's central display lit up. And the galaxy saw the truth. Earth's true fleet. 1,000 warships hovered in low orbit above Earth and its colonies. Sleek, silent, designed not for defense, but domination. Their forms blended brutalist Earth engineering with something. Alien energy. Signatures pulsed from hulls that shouldn't exist. Weapons glowed with restrained annihilation. Some delegates trembled. The woman spoke again. You suppressed what we let you see. You studied what we allowed the rest. She gestured to the screen. We built this in secret. Why? Chancellor Zorov asked, his voice reduced to a whisper. Her gaze locked onto his. Because we knew one day you'd push too far. You'd make the mistake of thinking we were weak. She let the silence stretch. You wanted us to remain shadows, she said. Now we step into the light. Panic cracked the room like thunder. Delegates shouted. Some called for war. Others pleaded for negotiations. The Suver ambassador roared. This is a declaration of war. But the Raw's delegate whispered, no, this is a warning. They all turned back to the human. But she was already walking away. One sentence left behind. You still think we're fighting for freedom? We're not. We're claiming what's ours. And then she was gone. In her wake, the Galactic Union was left not just stunned, but terrified. The truth revealed. The Grand Chamber had never been this quiet. The holographic display still shimmered in the center Earth's hidden fleet, orbiting their homeworld like a halo of sharpened blades. Each warship an enigma. Each energy, signature, a silent accusation. The image alone was enough to rewrite galactic military doctrine. Chancellor Zorov Van stared at it frozen. Beside him, the Rose delegate exhaled through his gills. That's not just a fleet, he whispered. That's a message. Before anyone could respond, the chamber's communication node blinked, a private signal. Zorov hesitated, then accepted. The human woman returned. Her projection shimmered into existence in the center of the hall, just as imposing as she had been in person. Her name now displayed on the Union interface, Commander Elena Carter. Her posture was calm, her presence electric. You wanted answers, she said. Let me be clear. We knew, she continued, voice razor sharp. From the first time your envoys stepped on Earth and offered us knowledge in exchange for obedience, we knew what you were doing. You weren't helping us. You were farming us, raising us under the illusion of peace while ensuring we'd never grow beyond your leash. You censored our technology. You erased our breakthroughs. You stole our thinkers. Her eyes scanned the delegates. And we let you. Murmurs erupted, disbelief bleeding into dread. You see, Carter said we never believed the game was fair, so we didn't play it. We built a second Earth one beneath the surface, underground bunkers, hidden laboratories, off-world shipyards, cloaked under barren ice. While you studied our universities and our television broadcasts, our real minds were elsewhere. She raised another device. The image changed. Mars swarming with drones mass-producing weapons. Titan the sky dotted with dry docks the size of cities. Europa still smoldering, but now defended by orbital platforms bristling with power. You thought you were dealing with children, Carter said, but children don't build fleets like these. Chancellor Zorov managed a breath. Why not reveal yourselves earlier? Why now? Carter's face darkened. Because we hoped, she said softly, that peace was possible. That if we stayed quiet long enough, if we grew without showing teeth, maybe one day we'd be treated as equals. She looked at him, and the weight in her eyes silenced the room. But peace requires respect, and you never respected us. The Suver ambassador stood, voice booming. So what now? You threaten us with extinction. You blackmail the Union with fear. Carter turned to him slowly. You misunderstand again. She tapped her wrist console. The screen zoomed in, not to weapons firing, not to ships deploying, just one fleet motionless, dead silent. We're not threatening you, she said. We're showing you what restraint looks like. That sentence hit harder than any weapon could. A moment passed, then two. Zorov Van stepped forward. What do you want, Commander? Carter raised a small black data chip and set it on the podium. Simple terms, she said. Effective immediately, the Galactic Union will remove all restrictions imposed on Earth and its colonies. No more interference, no more embargoes, no more sabotage. We develop on our own terms. The chamber rippled with outrage. And if we refuse, asked the Raw's delegate, voice tight. Carter's smile returned, but this one was colder than space itself. Then we stopped holding back. That silence wasn't just fear. It was the weight of history shifting. No, Carter added, her voice now. Glacial, this isn't blackmail. This is balance. You've pulled the pendulum one way for centuries. Now it swings back. Zorov Van stared at the chip as if it were a loaded weapon. The Suver ambassador was trembling. You don't expect us to just give you what you want. Carter's gaze turned lethal. If we wanted ambassador, you wouldn't be debating. You'd be burning. The screen behind her flickered again. Earth's dreadnoughts now highlighted in red, their weapons primed but not fired. Take your time, she said. Deliberate debate rage, but understand this. She stepped forward, voice dropping low enough to make every translator go still. We're done pretending. With that, the feed cut, and for the first time in living memory, the Galactic Union realized humanity wasn't asking for freedom, they were declaring dominance. A choice of fire. The chamber did not return to order. It couldn't, not after that. Delegates from 1,000 worlds stood frozen in place. The silence stretched into an unnatural void. Somewhere in the upper tiers, a Thalaxi diplomat fainted. No one moved to help him. All eyes remained on the space where Commander Elena Carter had just stood, a projection of flesh and blood, more terrifying than any fleet of metal. Chancellor Van remained by the podium, claws clenched tight around its edge. Not from anger, from restraint. Behind him, the Raw's delegate finally broke the stillness. They've made their position clear, he said, voice heavy. We are not dealing with a rogue human state. We are dealing with a unified Earth, prepared and far more dangerous than we ever imagined. The Suver ambassador spat the words like venom. Prepared, they've deceived us. Lied, built weapons of mass destruction in secret. This is treason. This is survival, Zorov murmured. The Suver whipped toward him. You can't possibly suggest we give in to their demands. I'm suggesting, Zorov said slowly, that we remove arrogance from our calculations. He gestured to the central screen. The Terran fleet still motionless, still silent, still watching. We believe humanity weak, controllable. You yourself said it, we sabotaged them, kept their development in chains, and still they built this. He turned, sweeping his gaze across the hall. Now ask yourselves, what will they build without chains? Another silence, but this time it wasn't fear. It was dread. A Vraikan diplomat stirred. If we go to war and lose, she said quietly, we don't just lose a battle, we lose control of the entire galaxy. Earth will become the new center. The Silver ambassador snarled, slamming his fist into the table. Then we crush them now, before they grow further, before other colonies flock to their banner. We have the numbers, the firepower. Zorov turned sharply. You assume the war hasn't already started. The room stilled again. Their weapons are online, their message was clear. What you see now may only be the tip of the spear. The Suver glared. So we just surrender, let them rewrite the order that we've maintained for millennia. No, said Zorov Van. We make a choice. He stepped back from the podium, and for the first time, the seasoned chancellor looked aged. We can either grant them what they ask, release Earth from the shackles we've placed, and preserve what balance we can, or set the Ra's delegate grimly. We go to war. The phrase hung in the air like a guillotine blade, sharp and waiting. Far away, on the dark side of the moon, a silent command station watched the debate unfold in real time. Inside, Commander Elena Carter stood before a panoramic viewport, her arms clasped behind her back, eyes locked on Earth's blue glow. Admiral Marcus Raines approached from behind, expression unreadable. You should have seen their faces, he said quietly. Like children realizing the dog they've been kicking is actually a lion. Carter didn't smile. She didn't blink. They thought they were leashing a beast, she murmured. They never understood. We were just waiting. Raines folded his arms. Do you think they'll comply? Carter turned, her eyes cold as the void outside. They don't have a choice. But if they do, he asked. Her voice dropped a note. Then we move. Raines hesitated. And if they don't resist? Carter's smirk vanished. What replaced it wasn't joy. It was strategy. Then we prepare. Raines arched an eyebrow. For what? Carter stared at the stars above, where countless species watched and waited. For the next empire that thinks they can control us, she said. Because this wasn't just about Earth. This was about every power that ever tried to put humanity in a cage. And now the galaxy had a decision to make. Comply or burn. Unleashed. 3 days. That's how long it took. 3 days of frantic debate, of diplomatic scrambling behind closed doors, of whispered threats and shattered pride. And in the end, the Galactic Union, the oldest governing body in the known galaxy, issued a message that echoed across every inhabited world. In recognition of humanity's right to self-determination, the Galactic Union hereby lifts all technological and developmental restrictions previously placed upon Earth and its colonies. The words were wrapped in formalities: mutual cooperation, shared progress, interstellar harmony. But to those who understood power, the subtext was deafening. The Union had surrendered, and Earth didn't gloat. It activated. Factories buried beneath Martian soil roared to life, long dormant for fear of orbital scans. Massive shipyards on Titan, once disguised as barren mineral facilities, now revealed towering dry docks pulling entire fleets from the shadows. Civilian tech hubs in Seattle, Kyoto, Johannesburg shed their disguises, revealing AI cores running simulations at speeds Union scientists had once deemed mathematically reckless. Within 12 hours, Earth's military production had tripled. Admiral Raines watched from a command tower on Titan as a new class of dreadnought, the Athena variant, slid free from its construction cradle. Its hull bristled with plasma lances and magneto-luminal rail systems, weapons theorized in Union black papers as galactic destabilizers. Now they were real. Now they were human. Inside the Sol System's secure network, AI cores previously kept hidden behind layered firewalls went online. Sentinel-class constructs designed not only for war, but for strategy, logistics, prediction. The Union had feared machine minds for centuries. Earth had perfected them, and all of it, every engine, every circuit, every fusion burner had been waiting for the moment the leash was removed. Chancellor Zorov Van sat alone in his private quarters on Venth Prime, watching the reports pour in. Human military output was now moving at post-theoretical speeds. Weapon designs emerging from Earth's research facilities violated not just Union laws, but the very physical models the Union had considered as absolute time distortion cannons, quantum echo fields, AI-linked war matrices. Zorov leaned back, exhaled long and slow. We didn't just free them, he whispered. We unleashed them. His console chimed. A secure diplomatic channel flickered. Earth was calling. He hesitated, then answered. Commander Carter's face appeared calm as always. Chancellor, she said with a nod that felt more like a warning than a greeting. I hope you've had time to rest. Zorov stared. Why are you contacting me? She smiled, a blade wrapped in silk. I wanted to extend an invitation. A gesture between powers. Zorov's claws curled slightly. An invitation. To what? Carter's eyes didn't blink. To the future. And with that, the feed cut, leaving Zorov in silence, once more heart-pounding like a war drum. On Earth, beneath the surface of Geneva's new Terran Command Center, Carter stood before a holographic map of the known galaxy. Blue indicators pulsed in real time. Human outposts, ship movements, research expansions. Admiral Raines entered. You spoke to him. She nodded. He's starting to understand. Raines looked to the map. Then it's time to move forward. Carter didn't hesitate. The leash is off. No more hiding. She gestured toward the Union's outer sectors glowing faint red. The independent colonies out there. They've been waiting for this moment. They're tired of the Union's chains. Raines raised an eyebrow. You think they'll join us? Carter turned eyes like ice and fire. No, she said, they'll follow us. She tapped the console again. The hologram shifted, revealing blueprints for a new class of fleet, sleeker, hungrier. No longer designed for defense or deception. These ships were born for domination. Raines exhaled. You think they'll resist? Carter's expression hardened. They don't have the time. And across the stars, word spread faster than light. Humanity wasn't just back. They were done pretending. The galaxy reacts. From the icy moons of the Thalax Reach to the storm-battered cities of the VIII Belt, the message had spread. Earth is free. Earth is building. Earth is no longer asking. For centuries, colonies on the fringes of Union space had simmered in quiet rebellion. Their ambitions stifled their resources, siphoned their voices, silenced by a bureaucracy too vast to fight and too entrenched to escape. But now they had seen the impossible. A Terran fleet hovering above Earth like a blade poised to fall. A transmission that wasn't a call to arms, but a call to truth. On Zostria, a breakaway colony known for its defiance, Governor Reliance stood before his council, the human broadcast still glowing on the wall behind him. They did it, he muttered. They actually broke the chains. His advisor leaned in, whispering, they're calling for allies. Reliance tendrils twitched with unease. For years, we've resisted the Union alone. We didn't believe help would ever come. He didn't finish the thought. He didn't have to. Because now, help had come with a Terran banner and a war fleet the size of a god's breath. Back in Sol, at the edge of Mars' orbit, another fleet launched. Sleek obsidian black warships burst from dry docks, each one carrying next-generation AI command nodes, plasma weapons with adaptive heat signatures, and hulls coated in stealth alloys that bent gravity. The stars trembled. And inside the heart of the Terran Dominion, for that was what it had become, in all but name, Commander Carter stood before a towering comms terminal. Is the message ready? She asked. Admiral Raines gave a sharp nod. Broadcast it. Across the galaxy, every comm relay lit up. Every listening post, every independent frequency, every rebel channel. The signal was brief, direct. The Union's grip is broken. Humanity has risen. We offer alliance to all who seek freedom. Join us or be left behind. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. On Union core worlds, panic spiraled. Delegations argued, analysts scrambled, and fleets were redirected toward Sol. In the war chamber of the Suver Armada, the Silver Ambassador paced like a caged beast. They're expanding too fast, he growled. Every moment we hesitate, another colony joins them. A general stepped forward. Our fleets are still superior in number. If we strike now, we may contain the spread. The ambassador's eyes gleamed. Then we strike. He turned to his aides, summoned the High Council. The time for patience is over. In orbit above Earth, aboard the UNS Avalon, Carter and Raines stood side by side as a new Union transmission arrived. A single line, the Galactic Union formally declares a state of war against the Terran regime. Raines smirked, right on schedule. Carter nodded once. Activate Phase 2. And across the void, the stars screamed. From the asteroid belt, Europa and the hidden arc forges of Enceladus, Earth's true fleets emerged. These weren't the polished fleets shown in the initial reveal. These were the real weapons. Titan-class dreadnoughts, Disruption-class, stealth cruisers, AI-piloted hunter swarms, and all awakened from deep stasis protocols. No more deception, no more restraint. Earth had prepared for this exact moment. And now they were going to take the future. In Union military sectors, alarms blared. Fleets mobilized, border systems were fortified, and war drums echoed across entire star systems. But the Union had made one final, fatal miscalculation. They thought war would stop humanity. Instead, they had given Earth exactly what it wanted, a reason to strike. And across the stars, every species that had once mocked Earth now watched in paralyzed awe. Because this wasn't just vengeance, it was ascension. The fall of the Union. They called it Velar Prime, a fortress world. The Union's outermost bulwark, ringed by asteroid defenses, shield arrays, and a fleet of over 200 capital-class warships. It was the kind of planet designed to withstand sieges that lasted years. It lasted 37 minutes. The first wave of Terran warships dropped out of slipspace in perfect silence. No warnings, no hails, just death. Union commanders scrambled, deploying intercept formations with precision. Honed over centuries, the fleet admiral, a veteran Solvar tactician who had crushed 3 rebellions and survived the Athari scourge, gave the order. They're still outnumbered. destroy them. But the numbers didn't matter, because what entered orbit wasn't just another fleet. It was an execution squad. Terran plasma lances shredded shield generators in seconds, melting hulls like candle wax. Union formations drilled for linear engagements collapsed under AI-directed strike clusters that moved like living organisms, fast, fluid, and merciless. Then came the Titan-class dreadnoughts, each the size of a city, each a floating apocalypse. They didn't maneuver. They didn't dodge. They simply arrived and deleted everything in their path. One of them, the UNS Dominion, fired a single round, and an entire Union command carrier, along with 6 escort cruisers, ceased to exist. It wasn't a battle. It was a massacre. And it was only the beginning. Across the galaxy, similar reports poured in. At Krexus Station, Earth's stealth fleet bypassed orbital sensors, entirely disabling the defense grid before a single shot was fired. On Tharn 9, Terran infiltrator bots turned the Union's own security AI against them. At Navarre's Gate, a Terran fleet emerged inside the planetary defense perimeter. Using folded space jump drives the Union had declared theoretical. It wasn't theoretical anymore. The Union's high command couldn't react fast enough. They'd spent centuries watching Earth's decoy capabilities. Now they were drowning in the real thing. Back on Venth Prime, the Union's capital chancellor Zorov Vans stood in the war, all eyes sunken, voice hoarse, breath short. "We have underestimated them," he rasped. "From the very beginning." A Thelmar delegate snapped. "Then we must offer terms, negotiate, surrender what we must to survive." Zorov slammed his fist into the table. "There are no terms, can't you see? They don't want concessions. They don't want compromise. They want the Union erased." And deep down, everyone in that chamber knew it was true. This wasn't retaliation. It was replacement. Earth didn't come to share power. They came to take it. Above Venth itself, the final battle unfolded. Every last warship the Union could muster, over 1,000 strong, gathered in a final stand. And across from them, humanity's full strength arrived. Rows upon rows of Terran warships, sleek, silent, and glinting with the reflections of burning stars. Dreadnoughts, supercarriers, AI-coordinated destroyer clouds. The Avalon led the charge. On its bridge, Commander Carter stood poised. "This is their last stand," Rain said, scanning the displays. "And ours is the last word," Carter replied. She raised her hand. "End this." And the galaxy's last illusion that the Union could endure died in that moment. The battle lasted less than 2 hours. Union defenses fell. Leaders tried to flee. Most didn't make it. Their command centers were vaporized mid-escape. And when the dust settled, the Union flag was torn from its mast, replaced by the rising black and silver banner of the Terran Dominion. Earth had not only won, it had conquered. The transmission that followed was simple. The war is over, the Union is no more. The Dominion rises, order will be enforced. Welcome to the new age. And across the stars, no one argued. Because now the only truth that mattered was this: humanity rules. The new order. The capital world of Venth had fallen. The once proud spires of the Galactic Union's High Council lay in rubble statues that once stood for peace. Law and unity were now shattered at the feet of Terran boots. Banners bearing the sigil of the Union were burned or buried. Above, the skies churned with Terran warships, their hulls casting long, cruel shadows over the broken city. In the heart of the ruined chamber, Chancellor Zorov Vaughn stood alone, his long frame hunched with exhaustion, age, and something worse, realization. The game had ended and he had lost. Footsteps echoed across the stone. He didn't turn. He didn't need to. He already knew who it was. Commander Elena Carter stepped into the chamber. Her Black Dominion uniform pristine, the Terran insignia gleaming like a new sun. She stopped before him, arms crossed, expression unreadable. "You lost," she said. 2 words. That was all it took to strip away the last defenses of the galaxy's former master. Zorov looked up at her, bitterness clinging to his voice. "You think you've saved the galaxy?" Carter tilted her head. "Saved it?" She smiled, not kindly. "No, we didn't come to save it." She stepped forward. "We came to claim it." Zorov stiffened. "You think humanity will rule better than we did?" "Not better," Carter said, worse. The words hit like a gunshot. She circled the room, slowly gesturing to the ruins. The Union ruled through illusion, through law and compromise, and empty declarations of unity. You kept peace by stifling ambition, by chaining every rising star. You called it order. She turned back to him. "We call it cowardice." Zorov's voice cracked. "And what do you offer in its place?" Carter's gaze turned cold. "Fear." She leaned closer. "You spent centuries mocking us, caging us, whispering to the stars that Earth would never rise, that we were too chaotic, too violent, too unpredictable." She stood tall, voice rising. "You were right. And in that moment, Zorov Van, once the most powerful voice in the galaxy, finally understood. The Dominion hadn't come to share power. They'd come to end the Age of Mercy. Across the stars, the transition was swift. Worlds that had once resisted Earth's influence now flew Terran banners willingly. Rebellions were crushed before they began. Union fleets that hadn't surrendered in time were dismantled, repurposed, or vaporized. Entire systems were reorganized into Dominion sectors, each under direct oversight from Terran command. Every broadcast began the same way. You are no longer under Union control. You are under Dominion protection. Stability is not requested. It is required. From the forges of Mars to the underground AI sanctuaries beneath Europa, production surged. Terran AI grew more sophisticated, more dominant. Entire colonies were managed by sentient systems operating at speeds no organic mind could follow. Opposition faded. Resistance died before it could organize. The stars went quiet. Inside Dominion Command, Carter stood before a sprawling galactic map. Glowing territories once marked as independent, now burned in Terran blue. Admiral Raines stepped beside her. "It's done," he said. "The last Union loyalists have surrendered." Carter didn't answer immediately. Her gaze remained locked on the stars. Finally, she spoke. "Not yet." Raines frowned. "The Union is gone. What else is left?" Carter turned to him. "We didn't just take their empire, Marcus." Her voice dropped low and final. "We took their place." Raines was quiet for a long time. Then finally, what happens when someone else rises? When another species does to us what we did to them? Carter's eyes glinted like a warhead ready to detonate. "Then we remind them," she said. And across the galaxy, every species, every colony, every leader who had once believed humanity was just another upstart primitive, now trembled beneath the weight of a new truth. The Terran Dominion wasn't a government. It was a warning, and from the deepest black of space to the last forgotten moons, one message echoed louder than any starship engine. Humanity had arrived, and the stars would never be the same again.